Hello everyone. Today we'll be solving chapter 1 of human biology. Sylvia S.Mader, the 14th edition. This chapter is kind of like an introduction to science, not like detailed biology. So it's easy, but it also builds a foundation for how some of the processes in science and how do we collect data and how do we do research. Question number 1. So we have life is organized, like living organisms reproduce and grow. Living organisms respond to stimuli. Living organisms have an evolutionary history. Living organisms acquire materials and energy. So they want to match each description with a sentence. Number 1, the human heart rate increases when the person is scared. So when the person is scared, this is the human heart. It responds by increasing the heart rate. So this is obviously the C, in which the human heart and the living organisms respond to stimuli. Humans produce only humans, so this is obviously reproduction. So it's B, humans reproduce and grow. And reproduction, it occurs within species. So humans will only produce humans, monkeys will only produce monkeys, and so on. You cannot have different species, as they will not produce reproduce offspring. Question number 3, humans need to eat for building blocks and energy. So this is corresponding to E, living organisms acquire materials and energy. Similar cells form tissues in the human body. So this is about the organization in which cells form tissues form organs form organ system forms an organism. Same organisms together, it is a population, different populations, it is a community, and so on. Question number 5, which of the following represents the process by which organisms become adapted to changes in their environment over time? So changes to their environment. Homeostasis, it is the maintenance of a constant internal environment. Development is just basically when you grow from like a kid into an adult. Evolution and technology. So when living organisms become adapted to their organism, we say that this is a sign of evolution. Question number 6, humans belong to all of the following groups except what? The animal kingdom, yes, we do belong there. Domain eukarya, yes, we are eukaryotes. Option C, invertebrates. So in means without. Vertebrates, obviously your spine, your vertebrates, your backbones. So are we without backbones? No, we do not belong to that group. We actually belong to vertebrates. And mammals, obviously we are mammals. 7, which of the following is not a domain of life? So we have 3 domains, archaea, eukarya, and protist. Bacteria, it belongs to the domain prokaryotes. Okay, so it is bacteria, archaea, eukarya, protists. So actually I'm gonna change my answer, because here this is not prokaryotes. Here's the text took bacteria to be prokaryotes. So this is the first domain, the second domain is archaea, and the last domain is eukarya. So protists, they are a kingdom, like the animal kingdom, within the eukaryotic domain. Question number 8, in an experiment, the dash is exposed to the experimental variable. So the test group, it will be exposed to the experimental variable. The control group, it will not experience any changes. That's why we call it a control group. We want to see if the thing that we are testing has any effect at all. That's why we need to have a control group. And so it will be option A. Let's do question number 9. A prediction follows what step of the scientific process? The scientific process, in short, it's basically what? You will come up with an idea. Before you do the idea, you have to do an observation. and then you will think about that observation and you will make a hypothesis, and then you will design an experiment to test your hypothesis. And then while after you do the experiment and before correcting the result, or you will do a prediction on what's gonna happen. Okay, and then you collect the results and you analyze your results, obviously, and you do a conclusion. If it's the conclusion supports or denies your hypothesis, you will basically it will then become a law, a theory, or a principle, something that is accepted by the scientific community, and it will be peer reviewed by other scientists. And this is the scientific process. So which comes first in the scientific process? You have to make an observation about something, for example about the nature of light, about how penicillin stops bacteria. You have to basically see that something is happening and be like, why is that happening? And then hypothesis, and the list goes. Question number 11. Information collected from scientific experiment is known as that data. It will become a theory if your results back the data and if it's be reviewed by other scientists. Hypothesis is your idea. Conclusion, it's basically what the result showed. Question number 12. Uncertainty of data is called the standard error. It's basically or the percentage of something went wrong. Okay. Question number 13. A B value indicates the number of individuals in a control group. No. The probability that the same results in the experiment would occur by chance, the amount of variation in the data, the importance of the hypothesis. So it tells you the probability, obviously B for probability, that the same results in the experiment would occur by chance, and how much of it is basically occurring due to the factor, the independent variables that you are testing. Question number 14. Dash is the application of scientific investigations for the benefit of humans. So application of scientific investigations, okay, for benefit of humans, it will be technology, because bioethics is basically like discussing, is it ethical, like do the benefits outweigh the dangers? So you'll basically count the pros and cons. Adaptation, we already said that it's a process by which an organism uses features favorable to its environment. And evolution, it is a result of adaptation. Question number 15. Humans' influence can be associated with which of the following challenges facing science? Loss of biodiversity. Who's doing it? Us, because we are destroying lands. Emerging diseases, again, humans also. How do we get a hand of that? For example, let's say there's a disease that is native to some part of the world, and you travel there and you bring it to a new part of the world. So yeah, climate change, obviously, transportation, greenhouse gases. So all of these are correct. And this was the last question. Thanks for watching. As always, if you have any questions, please drop it in the comments.